welcome to Go for Lunch for 2021. And Happy New Year to you all. Now, my producer has just informed me that there's 8 people at some other location. So I really don't know how I keep getting links messed up. So let's see. The link in the newsletter is not working. Thank you, Kurt. And thank you. Let's see what else we got going on here. Well, let's see. How can I get the right link to you people? I don't know. So I'm sorry that we got the links. What's this we, white man? I got the link messed up. I don't know how that happens. So anyway, we won't worry about it because we're live and I can't do much more about it. And there's Bob. Bob found us. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Kurt, for letting me know what's going on. And Bob, for joining us again. You're right on time. We're just getting organized. So we're just going to have to go with what we got because I don't really have a way to get those other people over here. Hopefully they will figure it out. And of course, as always, you can always watch the replay at your convenience. So Happy New Year. 2021 is upon us, whether we want it or not. And we are going to roll with it. So today we're going to talk about online banking. Now, over the years, I have found when I discuss this with many of you that you're afraid that online banking is not secure. I have been doing online banking in various forms since before there was a Macintosh, which means prior to 1984. And now Sherman's calling me to tell me that we're not there. So I have never had a problem with online banking. I certainly keep my yes. Thank you, Leslie Ann. I appreciate that. So I don't know what's going on here because some of you got it and some of you didn't. So I don't know what has happened, but if anybody has any clues as to which link they followed, I would certainly like to know how we got more than one link in there because some of you found it and most of you didn't. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. So online banking is secure. I've never had a problem with it. I've been doing it for many, many years, and I want to help you move into it. If it's something you've been afraid to do, hopefully we will allay that fear. Well, I'm glad that you like the hat, Mary, and I'm glad you found us. And good. So here's Carolyn, who is a believer, and hopefully before we finish this program, we'll have more believers among you. So let's get started. So online banking, and the main reason we like online banking is it is convenient. Okay, so we're going to adjust our headroom a little bit here. There we go. Now that I don't have my top hat on anymore. So when you stop and think about it, when you put something in the mail, all sorts of things can happen to it. It goes lots of different places. There's fewer stops along the way when you use online banking or electronic banking. And there's always the weather. You know, this year already we've had some major weather problems in the east and in the southeast. And of course, there's always the fires here and there that cause problems. So when you do online banking, you bypass all those possible problems. So it's more direct than sending it through the United States Postal Service. It's also less expensive. You don't have to buy stamps. You don't have to buy those special envelopes to put those checks in and put the stamp on. And of course, when you don't have to do that stuff, it's going to save you some time. Now, the way I do my online banking, so if I get a bill, okay, let's say I get my water bill. So the day I get it, I go to my computer and I schedule that bill to be paid. So I always schedule it a couple days before it's due. So for example, this water bill is due on the 13th of the month, so I'll probably schedule it in my online banking to be paid on the 10th so that I make sure that it gets there on time, and most importantly, I don't forget about it. So that's just a little routine, a little discipline that I've found that works very well for me. Of course, we have reoccurring bills that are the same every month, and we don't have to schedule those except once. So we set up an automatic bill pay for those types of bills. For example, your water, your gas, electricity, your mortgage, your cell phone, your internet, and there's probably several other bills that you pay every month. So those can be scheduled up to be automatically reoccurring payments. So you set it and you forget it. So take advantage of that automation and save stress in your life. So let's go to the demo mode and see what we can see. So I have here a US bank website. So because I didn't want to expose my account numbers and all that kind of stuff, I set up this special US bank account over the weekend, and it was interesting. So I won't go into the gory details, but it took a little bit of doing. So now we're going to log in to our banking account. So it remembered my username. You'll notice it puts some little asterisks there so that even my username is not exposed. So now I'm going to use one password, which I need to unlock. And it's my cat's name, in case you wanted to know. So we select that, and then we hit return, and the computer at the bank starts thinking, and voila, we are in our banking account. So as you can see, I have a deposit account, checking account, and I have a debit card in US Bank. So your bank will look different. Unfortunately, there's not any standardization among banks about how they do it. They all have their ways of doing it. So this is not going to look the same at your bank, but the process will be similar. Over here on the right, under transfer money, we can transfer from accounts in the bank. So that's sometimes handy. I have, in my regular bank, I have a savings account and a checking account. And then I can transfer money from savings to checking if I have a big purchase or something. Also, I have my savings account set up as a overdraft account. So if I happen to get an overdraft, it will go in and take the money out of savings and not charge a credit card and not have any interest fees. So that's something else to be aware of. So down here below, we have the section that we are interested in, paying bills. You see right here, it says you can send money with Zelle. We'll talk about that also a little later in the program. So I'm going to click on Pay Bills, and it says pay all your bills all in one place. It's easy to get started. Let us help you. And then the link here is set up a biller. So we're going to click on set up a biller, and we are going to find our biller. So it looks like most of you found us. Thank you for persevering there. I see we have 13 people watching now, so that is great. So I'm going to pay my water bill, and my water comes from the city of Tucson. So I'm going to put in city of Tucson. Case shouldn't matter here, and I'm going to click on the search button. Well, look at that. The bank knows about this place called the city of Tucson. So now you would, of course, have your paper bill handy, and you would look for the account number. So the account number I'm going to put in here. If anybody wants to copy this down and pay my water bill, that's fine with me. So here we go. Put in the account number. And probably if there's a dash in there, you need to put that in there. Sometimes not. You never know. So if it doesn't work with a dash, put the dash in, and vice versa. Okay, so there's my account number. Now they want me to confirm the account number. So what they want you to do is type it in again so that you get it right. So we're going to do that. Of course, you could fudge a little bit and just copy and paste it, but we'll play it by the rules here, so we make sure that we're putting it in correctly. So here we go. 3310. Okay. And now they want the biller zip code. Now I get a big kick out of the fact that my city of Tucson water bill is going to Phoenix, Arizona. What happened to try Tucson first? So I'm putting in the zip code here for Phoenix, 85072. And then I'm going to type the zip +4 and see if it moves over. Up, look at that. The programmers are lazy. I have to move over. They should have made the cursor move over automatically. Lazy programmers. Okay, there we go. Now you can give it a nickname. So we'll just call this water. Okay, and we're going to add the biller. And I didn't put the right zip code in here. 85072. Okay. Now it likes it. Okay. So add biller confirmation. City of Tucson. Now we could go and add another biller. So of course the first time you do this, you want, put all of your billers in there, but we're just going to do this one. So I'm going to click on I'm done. Okay, so now I'm going to put the amount in. So I owe the water company $55.97. Okay, and then I'm going to tell them to pay it. It's due on the 13th. So I can click on the little calendar here. And I can see the 13th is a Wednesday. So if I paid it on the 11th, it's sure to get there on time. And then you can choose which account in this bank it comes out of. Obviously, I only have one account. So that's the account it's going to go to. So now I simply click on send the payment. Now, excuse me. Up here, you can see it says scheduled payments. So if I click here on scheduled payments, it says, would you like to send your payment? So it wants to know if I want to send this one and then do scheduled, or if I want to do scheduled right away. So I'm going to click on I'll send my payment later. Okay. So now we do not have any bill pay transactions at this time. So we want to add a scheduled bill payment. So we're going to, and I didn't get this far in my preparation because I didn't want to have it already there. I wanted to show you as I went how this works. And I'm looking for something that says schedule your payments. You do not have any bill pay transactions at this time. So it looks like I'm going to have to go back here and pay this bill. Also, you can usually set up alerts. So you can set up an alert that will let you know when your bills are being paid. So, oh, look, we have an unexpected error. So we're going to go back here. Oh, we also have a truck out in front with a backup alarm. So I haven't put in I guess I have put in my email. So now your email address for bill pay has been changed. You can change your bill pay settings right here. So we can manage our payments. So here's our manage our payments. And I am not seeing how to set up automatic payments, which they call scheduled payments, which should be right here. And okay, so we're not going to get hung up on that, but take my word for it, your bank has a way of doing reoccurring or scheduled payments so that you can pay the regular bills from your utilities and other things that happen every month without having to go in and do a transaction in your banking every time. So you might be wondering, can I do this on my phone? And the answer to that would be yes, you can. Well, look who's here. Phil and Phyllis and Barbara, thanks for joining us. So here I am on my iPhone. And again, I have one password. And it uses Face ID. Once you set it up, your banks usually will allow you to turn on Face ID. So I'm going to log in. On my iPhone, of course, you could do this on your iPad. And I'm so happy this worked because earlier the app wasn't working. So one of the neat things about using your iPhone or your iPad is you could actually deposit checks without going to the bank. So I have here a check that has an amount of $7. So some banks, they'll put in the decimal point for you. Other banks, you can put it in. So this one put in the decimal. So you have to put in the right amount of numbers there so it comes out correctly. I'm going to click on Done here above the keypad. And then I'm going to take a photo of the check. Now, you need to have your check on a dark background so that there's a contrast between the check and the background. So here we have a dark background, and it should tell me, okay, it says success. So then you turn the check over, and it's going to show you where the endorsement is. So you see there on the right, there's that little line. That's where the endorsement should be. And it told me to move closer to the check, which I did. And now at the bottom in the blue, it says deposit $7. I simply touch that and touch again. You're about to make a deposit of $7 to your checking account. I click deposit $7 and it's thinking. So it is going to tell me that I'm all set. My check has been approved. I can now view my balance. To keep your account secure, we had to log you out. We're sorry, especially if we interrupted a task. log back in, and you'll have another 30 minutes on the app. Well, that is very interesting. I've never seen a bank do that before. So we'll log back in with our Face ID. And there we are. Now you can see that we now have a balance of $257. We had a balance prior of $250. So that check got deposited, and there's our instant access to what's happening on our account. We had a mobile check deposit for $7. Now it says it's pending, which of course means you can't spend that money until it clears. So some checks will be pending and other checks will clear right away, depending on if they came from a large institution. They'll probably clear right away, but they don't know how trustworthy this Roger Harmon guy is. So they are holding that check until they can decide whether or not that guy is a, like a trustworthy kind of fellow. So, as you can see here on both the bank app on your computer and the bank app on your iOS device, you can keep track of your online transactions. You can see when things clear, and it is a real good way to keep track of what's going on in your financial activity. Now, some companies will let you pay with a credit card, so you could earn points on your credit card by just paying your bills, which is kind of nice. Beware, however, read the fine print, because I did this yesterday on a new management company for an HOA that I'm involved in, and I tried to set it up to pay with a credit card so I could get points, and then as I was about ready to finish the setup, I saw a little note that said there's a $11 and some odd cents transaction, or no, they called it a courtesy fee. Well, I didn't think that was very courteous to me. I think it's more courteous to them. So beware of courtesy fees. So if you can set up with a credit card to pay bills without a courtesy fee, that's a good idea. Otherwise, not so much. So let's talk about payment services. So you can pay, established businesses, utilities, institutions of all sorts, through the bill pay. But sometimes there's people that maybe a landscaper or a painter, somebody's doing work around your house. You would like to pay them electronically so that, again, you have a record that they were paid, and you also don't need to keep any cash around the house, which is probably not a good idea. So you can use Zelle. In this case, U.S. Bank uses Zelle. And you can see, if we switch back here to the iPhone, that down here in the lower right-hand corner, so just to the right of the blue circle with the microphone, it says Zelle, send money. So I tapped on that. So you can send Zelle money through this bank, and your bank may use a different electronic transfer system, Venmo. Of course, if you use PayPal, that is not tied into any bank specifically. So that one is a good one to use because it doesn't depend on a bank. So those are other things that you can, or I should say other ways that you can pay your workers around the house and have a nice record all in one place of what's happening with your accounts. So that brings us to the questions time. So while we're waiting for you to type in your questions in the comments, let me remind you that it would be very nice if you would subscribe to the YouTube channel Click the little bell so you'll be notified of all of our YouTube lives. I'm thinking about adding a category. So now we have the Go for Lunch and we have Go for Tech briefings, but occasionally I have other things that are not even tech related. There was a food related thing I wanted to do a video on the other day, and I thought I needed a third category. So I'm looking for ideas what to call it. Go for special or go for, I don't know. So if anybody has any ideas what I can call a category that just kind of is a catch-all, so anything I think is interesting that I'd like to share with everybody, I would put that up on a different little category section. So as always, have mask, will travel. So still coming to you for one-on-one training, troubleshooting, using all the CDC approved safety protocols. And we can also do screen sharing, which usually works depending on your internet connection. So let's see what Carolyn has to tell us. If you use Zelle, you need to know the contact info that the recipient uses on their banking. Right. So if you use Zelle, then you need to have it set up. The other person needs to have it set up. So Alexis adds that they have arbitrary limits on the amount going and the amounts accepted, and they don't tell you why your transaction isn't going through. They just keep giving you errors. So that's something that obviously Zelle needs to work on. And so be aware that if you're getting errors and they're not telling you why, that's a problem that Zelle needs to fix. And Kurt says, I use Chase for nearly everything. Almost never go to an actual bank. Yes, I know. I went to U.S. Bank's branch at the Safeway at Campbell and Broadway yesterday and stood in line for 20 minutes, 6 feet apart, of course, but in line nonetheless. So, how many people do not use online banking right now? I'd like a just comment saying, just say no. No online banking for me. I'd just be curious to see how many of you are not using online banking, and then how many of you think you might like to start using online banking. And I am certainly available to help you set that up if it looks a little daunting. And again, every bank has different ways of doing it, and there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. So right, so exactly, they do have dollar limits combined with time limits, Susan. So that's a good so Barbara hasn't used online banking, so we're going to have to see if we can get Barbara going on online banking. And Bob uses some online banking, but not bill pay. So there you go. So hopefully this has enlightened you a little bit. And okay, so that's a good point, Carolyn, that Zelle probably does not let you spend more money than you have in your account. I guess that's sound business practices, I guess. So great. So, again, if you have any questions about this or anything else, my phone number and my email address will be popping up here. And Betty mentions that she'd like to. But you do use auto payments. Well, then you are using online banking. That's, part of online banking. And, oh, look, I must have hit the space bar here because my other monitor started playing music. How nice. So Alexa says she has gone over 5 years with only a couple of pages of bank printed checks. Come back, Alexis. So maybe 6 or 8 in total, and in 5 years. And she has tenants that pay her electronically, so no bad checks. Well, that's a very good point. When you pay electronically, they're checking to make sure there's money there, and you know that if the transaction goes through, then it's good. And you know if the transaction doesn't go through, that may be because they don't have any money in their account, and you need to get money some more positive way, like cash. So that's a very good point. So great. Well, thank you for all your comments. That really helps all of us. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning in case you're new here. My name is Roger Harmon with GoFor Technology, where we help your technology work for you. And Barbara says you had problems stopping automatic rent payments. Well, that's too bad, because usually you can just click on a little link and turn off. It's usually under managed payments. You can turn your payments off. Like I had to change my HOA, as I mentioned, because the HOA management company was embezzling our funds. So we had to change management companies. So I had to stop payments to one place and start to another place. So again, your bank would help with that. So thanks for joining us with GoFor Lunch for the first edition of 2021. May your new year be prosperous, peaceful, and filled with joy. See you next week, same time, same station.